Hello and congratulations to you. Your instructor has taken one of these off you and put one of these on you. Congratulations, you are now a Jiu-Jitsu Blue Belt. You have joined the fraternity of colored belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. This is the first belt which is earned by merit that your instructor has deemed you worthy of being promoted and to represent their class and their school at blue belt level. Now, I think personally that blue belt is a great belt to be on because I myself am a blue belt, and I would also liken this, if you're going to talk about the conversation aspect, that you've began to start using words in sentences. Now you're having to begin to have basic conversations with people on the mats in terms of the vast world of jiu-jitsu. And I would liken the blue belt to being like a teenager, and you're able to walk, you're able to run, you're able to make decisions, but the wisdom isn't quite established yet, and it certainly is a fun place to be as a blue belt. It's said that most people actually quit their jiu-jitsu journey at blue belt, which may not be necessarily true. It could be at white belt, but since you've been given this by merit and then you may choose to leave at blue belt, that's probably when it's experienced the most and talked about the most, because at white belt there's less of an emphasis, but blue belt you're considered now an intermediate or beginner level grappler with some prowess, and that you're able to handle yourself in grappling exchanges for the most part with people who are untrained, irrespective of size. But the blue belt is a great belt to be on if you know how to survive. This is a time when there's a bit more pressure on you. Higher belts may not go so easy on you, and growing white belts may want to challenge themselves, certainly if you've just been promoted to this, because they want that blue belt too, and they're coming for you, so there's a bit more pressure. So with that, you have to learn how to survive. So again, when it comes to this, everything said in the white belt video, if you haven't seen it, or any other white belt video for advice, take that to heart, because the truth is that the basics are your backbone. The basics are your backbone. What you learn at white belt, what the things you're asked to focus on at white belts, don't stop being important the higher and the further you go in the art. The basics are your backbone. You don't graduate because you're now a color belt. You don't graduate beyond the necessity for things like good base, posture, elbow escapes, shrimps, doing the warm-ups. You don't graduate beyond that. And these things are going to serve you when it comes to when you add more techniques to your game. Like I was saying, blue belts, it's like a teenager. You're trying new things. You're trying to figure out who you are, and you don't know who you are yet. But the basics are your backbone. The basics are how everything flows and knits together in your game. But with that being said, while the basics are your backbone, take time to play. Take time to play. The blue belt is like you're discovering stuff. You've got a basic grasp of the general jiu-jitsu game, but have fun with it. Try out new guards, try out new moves, and see what fits for you, and have a play. And it's a time to explore the vast world of Brazilian jiu-jitsu and have fun doing it. And with that being said as well, when it comes to the instructions and the times when the class is being taught, pay attention and ask questions. Pay attention and ask questions. Like, one of the biggest lies that you see in the world today, when we're doing stuff digitally and what have you, is that there's a box which you tick that says, yes, I have read and understood the terms and conditions. Like, you haven't read them all. Like, you don't know exactly what you've agreed to. And sometimes it's the same like that in the mats. One of the biggest lies is like when your professor asks you, you've understood it, you've got it now, you can do it, and everyone's like, yeah, we can do it, and don't tell them I told you this, but your professor knows you don't quite got it, you don't quite have it, and that comes out certainly when you try to do it when you roll. But there's still a time to pay attention and ask questions, because while you've got some grasp of it, better than maybe at white belt level, you still have areas to grow and a vast way to grow. And so pay attention, ask questions, and then you'll actually find yourself grasping the techniques much better and improving in your game. And so pay attention, ask questions. Also, when it comes to blue belt, like, you're a teenager, and so you're still kind of figuring stuff out. So with that being said, blue belt is a place where you need to know who you are. Begin to really know who you are. And while you take time to play, you may try stuff like you've seen Gary Tonin do, or people in Fight to Win, or Who's Number One. You think, ooh, that's cool. I think I'm going to try and do that when my competitions. I'm like, well, you'll learn that when the pressure's on, when there's people actually resisting you at full capacity or as close to full capacity, that's not you. You're not Gary Tonin. His game, A game, is not your A game yet. If you can have a game at Blue Belt, you're not at that place, and you have to know who you are. And knowing who you are is knowing your body type, knowing your temperament, your personality, what works for you, and building a congruent, conducive game towards that. You know, if you're not hyper flexible, you know, why are you spending heaps of time watching Eddie Bravo rubber guard stuff? If you're more older and that, like, you know, to move like people like the Mendez brothers and the Miao brothers may be a bit more difficult for you. So know who you are and tailor your game towards that. Congruent games is like where your game fits together, where it matches, where there's not holes and not gaps, there's not awkwardness, that you can be able to flow with the fluidity that you see the higher belt people roll with. And that's, you begin to learn to do that at Blue Belt. You explore the game, but also find out what is good for you. And with that being said, train smart and be specific. Train smart and be specific. Specific training is helpful for when it comes to closing the holes in your game and rounding out your game. So then that serves you well when you go up the ranks. And so when it comes to that and training smart, I say intelligence trumps intensity. Intelligence trumps intensity. Like, you don't get better just because you keep training and you hurt yourself and you roll hard all the time, and that's not smart. You spend more time recovering and more time flirting with injury than you do giving yourself the best chance to improve. You know, be smart with your training. Is it smart to roll hard all the time? Is it smart to just free roll when more specific training would be better for you? And I would say that kind of training will help you improve a lot faster than just rolling and doing what you always do. Because again, there will be people who will remind you that there's areas you have to grow in and things that you need help with. And when you're smart and when you're specific, you can get to dial in those areas, and so you can round out those areas in your game. People who are purple belt and beyond will have been doing this and practicing this for the most part for a long time, and you want to do what the best people do. And the people who are winning, the people who are in Who's Number One, the people who are in Fight to Wins and ADCCs and all that, they're the people that do train very smart and specific, because they know there's certain things which they need to execute in their training, but then also in the competition where it matters. So they know who they are and they develop their game that will actually bring them victories and the greatest success. And so with that, I'll leave you with the wish and well-being or well-wishing of having success at Blue Belt. I know you can make it to purple belt. Just don't quit, just don't step down, just don't step back. Train smart, be specific, and you will find out who you are, and the frustrations that you'll feel and the stagnation sometimes you'll feel in certain areas will be short-lived, and I know you will have fun, as I intend to, at Blue Belt. So I'll see you in the next videos. Have fun and keep training.